Can we talk about other things other than trucking?
No. Well, we can. We can do a little bit like a trucker's life, But
well, that's trucking. I mean, I would have loved to talk about the Tyson fight.
That just didn't seem...
No. I got a lot of friends that are in boxing. They said it was staged, so we'll leave it at that. Anyways. Trucking. You know what's funny? We did a survey.
Survey says?
We did a survey. And guess what the survey was? It asked the question, your thoughts on inward-facing cameras.
Mm.
Yeah, and 69% said they would not work for a trucking company that had inward-facing cameras. Yeah, imagine that. 11% said it's not a deal breaker, but they prefer carriers without facing cameras. Cameras. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you.
You were like holding it in. Go ahead, get it out.
Because I was trying to be polite, and you know me, it's like a dog.
Let it out.
So do you think the reason why most of them don't want it is because they don't fully understand the reasonings and the pros and cons?
I wouldn't want it, but we'll get to that in a second. I wouldn't. But anyways, 16% said, I'm good with it either way. It doesn't bother me. I don't really care. That's 16%. That's small. Mm-hmm. And then 4% said, I'm not sure of if I would drive for a carrier with inward-facing cameras. So some are like, yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm not sure if I would do it. Like 16% were like, I don't really give a crap.
And then there was another 11%.
11% again said it's not a deal breaker, but they would rather not.
Right.
But they would. I think what they're saying is for the right job, if it's a really good paying job, they're not going to lose the opportunity over a camera watching them. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, 69%. That's a lot. That's almost
big.
Yeah, that's like 3/4.
That's a very big percentage.
It's close to 3/4. Like if you take 100 or you take $1 and you divide it by quarters, by George Washington little quarters, right? So it's 3 of them. Oh, yeah. So most of them are like, hell no. I would be in the hell no. I'm the hell no guy. Watching me? What if I picked my nose?
You do.
What if I picked my nose on camera?
You would. And you'd pull your hair out your nose, too, on camera.
Yeah.
Then you do that little where you snort your nose up when your nose is itchy and you shake your fingers like this.
Right. But no, I'm serious. What if whatever? It's like I don't care for it.
I mean, I wouldn't want people to like be watching me when I'm doing my own little stupid stuff, stuff that you just kind of just do, but you're not realizing you're doing, like farting, sniffing.
Which you do.
I do. I think everybody does, but there's times I do.
You fart and then laugh.
I do. I think it's hilarious when I do it. Because I'm just, I don't know. I just think it's funny. I say, excuse me, and then I bust out laughing.
Can you imagine teaming two guys that are really big-time farters? That
would be one gassy truck.
Just imagine that. It'd be like trying to outdo each other. Oh, let's get some burritos tonight.
That would be one of those trucks where you see the little green smoke coming around it. Like that little hazard.
No, but I would be the guy that says, no, I don't want anything to do with cameras. I mean, seriously, I really would be that. And so what I did was there was a poll we took, but there was also quite a bit of comments that came with the poll.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so
truckers have to put their words in, right?
I thought I'd read some. It was interesting, some of the comments. My favorite comment coming up, I'll let you know which one it is.
Okay.
So one guy named Al, he said, how about office-facing cameras with audio to monitor the things in the office online, especially your personal dispatcher? Good. That's a good comment, Al.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys want to watch us all day, in fact, Al, I'll take it one step further. How about we have the office cameras to where we can watch them when we're on our off time in the truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Safety.
Yeah, I like that. We could say, look, he's gone to the bathroom 4 times so far in the last hour.
No wonder I can't get a hold of my dispatcher.
And he always takes a magazine. No. So Peter wrote, so 60% ain't professional enough to have a camera on them, and we wonder why the profession is turning into a joke. I know I have zero issue with inward-facing cameras, as I am bloody good at my job. I wonder if he's English.
I'm bloody good.
I'm bloody good. But no, seriously, Peter, let's be honest. I mean, that's good that you're good at your job and you feel that you don't mind a camera, but why insult the guy that doesn't want it? I mean, I don't see a problem with the guy that says, hey, I don't mind, and I don't see a problem with the guy that says, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why start beating each other up? In fact, I think there's a rebuttal. Yeah, one guy said, you're the joke. So, but I ain't going to get into that. Another guy said, I worked for Melton. They had them. Mm-hmm. That's all he said. Here's another guy wrote, and this is a big misconception about the cameras. One guy wrote, it's an invasion of drivers' freedom if you can't trust. Oh, this isn't the misconception. I'll get to that in a second. He says, if you can't trust the people you hire, then you have a problem to start with. And, to me, I agree with that statement. If you can't trust the drivers you're hiring, you're already saying they're good enough for the road, right? But here's the issue. Here's what it really comes down to. Insurance companies actually give trucking companies breaks. So now trucking companies get a big discount if they have the inward-facing cameras. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to have the inward-facing cameras. It's all about the dollar.
Well, here's what also, I mean, this is why I wouldn't care, and I probably would appreciate having it. See, when they have the inward-facing cameras, what they don't realize is there's other equipment in that tractor generally. Like if you're doing quick braking and stuff, that's registering it. It has nothing to do with your camera. So your camera's not picking that up. It's other applications inside your tractor that are picking up quick brakes and other things that show, like maybe a quick swerve, or anything to show if you were not paying attention. The inward-facing camera, what I personally like about that is the fact that if you're doing things that you're really not supposed to do, being on the phone, maybe doing something else that you're really not supposed to do, or even that you are doing what you're supposed to do, paying attention, and something happens, it's to protect you. So that's what I like about it, is because if someone's going to say, oh, she was on the phone. No, I wasn't. I have proof I wasn't on the phone, or something to that effect. That's what I like about it, is because if you are doing what you're supposed to do, the inward-facing camera is not going to, it wouldn't bother you for that.
I heard a story recently of, I think they're a Florida-based company. They're a pretty good-sized company. And a trucker, right, was riding a four-wheeler. He was riding too close to him. Mm-hmm. And it was here in Citrus County. And so the person in the vehicle started videoing the trucker, right? Mm-hmm. And he videoed, he just started videoing, holding his, from what I understand, he was holding his phone out the window, videoing, and you could see that you couldn't even really see any space between the truck and the four-wheeler. Well, as the truck goes by, he videos the truck. And so he sends the video to the safety department of this company, right? Which enabled the company to pull up the cameras, especially the one outward facing, and it showed how dangerously close this trucker was to the four-wheeler, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Now, in doing so, they decided, right, because when they did, right, it appeared on the camera that the four-wheeler was taking, it appeared that the trucker might have been flipping the guy off, right? Mm-hmm. And so they decided, well, let's check the inward-facing camera, right?
Because he was being unprofessional if he was flipping them off, and he wanted, that's one thing you got to watch when you're driving for a company with the name on the side of the truck. You don't want to be unprofessional like that.
Which is true, but turns out he wasn't flipping the guy the finger.
Oh, yeah?
He was smoking cigarettes in the truck, which is against company policy violation. So the safety director told the guy, he said, listen, he said, when I talked to the guy that called in and gave us the video, he said, listen, good news is he wasn't flipping you the finger. Bad news for us, he was holding up a cigarette and he was smoking, and you're not supposed to be smoking. We have a strict no smoking in the cab policy. So I don't know if they fired the guy or did they, reprimand him or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. I just know that sometimes those cameras, right, can be a bad thing for you, and sometimes they can be a good thing for you. In this case, you would think, me personally, you would think that people would behave when they know Big Brother's watching them. Like, literally, like, in your face. It's interesting that you would have the balls to fire up a cigarette with an inward-facing camera.
You would think.
Which goes to show you, I guess, he's thinking, well, they're not supposed to be watching me unless it's hard brake, like you said, mm-hmm. or a swerve, or I'm going too fast, or whatever the case is. But what if you have to hit the brakes and there you are with a cigarette in your mouth? I mean, it's kind of
you're not doing what you. But that's the thing, is you're breaking their policies, and I understand. You don't want to. Certain things are like, policy schmology kind of attitude, but. You took the job knowing that you're not allowed to do this. You became a truck driver knowing that you shouldn't take drugs, that you shouldn't do certain, things. You got, it's you got to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you take responsibility for your actions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
You're all responsible for yourself. And
Ruth Ann's so serious tonight.
I am serious like a
heart attack.
I was going to say a ladybug on a leaf, but
yeah, okay. So, all right. So, anyway, so that's interesting inward-facing camera story. But listen to this: a guy wrote. He said, now this is the misconception that I was getting at. He says, isn't it illegal with bunks? Isn't it illegal? He says about privacy, not. So for day cabs, he said, I did drive for a concrete company that had 5 cameras, one facing driver. He said, you kind of get used to it. But then he says, if I'm not mistaken, the law is that I guess a company called Loblaw had to remove their cameras, is what he's saying, from the bunk because it became illegal, which I could tell you that's just a rumor because it is not illegal. It's the trucking company owns the truck. They are 100% in their right to have inward-facing cameras.
Yeah, but he said in the bunk, which would be behind the curtain, right?
He's just saying all trucks with bunks. He didn't say...
Oh, okay. I thought I misheard you then.
Right. No, he's not saying that, hey, we got cameras in the bunks. He's just saying it's illegal. Remember, because he said only day cabs, right? So he's saying that a condo or a sleeper, you're not allowed to have them, which you are. You're absolutely allowed to. Mm-hmm. They are not. Now, this is a argument I've heard quite a bit from companies too. I've heard they can watch you. If they want to turn it on, they can see you. Like you're going down the road, they want to just look in every now and then on random people, So one guy wrote, he says, I would dance naked in front of it and then file a lawsuit for invasion of privacy. So I just thought that was kind of inventive, walk around naked and then
file a lawsuit. I mean, I guess, I could see that it's humorous. Yes, okay, I can understand John Cougar Mellencamp.
Okay. So anyway, that was the survey. Again, if it was me, if I was back on the road, I personally would not like it. But here's what I would tell you. Probably going to be mandatory in the future. Literally. It's probably going to be 100% mandatory. One guy wrote, let me see if I can find what this one guy wrote. He said, one guy wrote, it saved me a lot of court time because somebody had pulled out in front of me and the camera proved my innocence. Mm-hmm. And that's what I hear from a lot of trucking companies. It's really more, the trucking companies save a lot of money with those inward-facing cameras because, and I was talking to a guy from UPS the other day, and they are so strict. I was told it doesn't matter. They will tell you that you're at fault. If you were parked, right? This is what this guy was telling me. He said, now when he worked there at UPS, he said, if you were parked and you got hit, you got blamed because you didn't look for an out for somebody. You should have anticipated somebody, slamming into you.
Yeah, I remember a story similar to that.
Right. So some companies, right, no matter what, they're blaming the truck driver. And before the inward-facing cameras, actually, I should say before the ones that are on the outside.
Cameras, period, yeah.
Right. There was a lot of incidences where somebody would, what they call the get-on ramp, right? Mm-hmm. They're merging into the traffic ramp.
Right.
We all know that in some states, especially like Ohio, they don't think the word yield means slow down and yield to the traffic. They think yield means gas on it and slam your way in. Mm-hmm. Well, there's been times where people come flying off the ramp and they shoot in front of a trucker, right? And when they do, they realize, oh, traffic is stopping, and they slam on their brakes. And when they shot in front of the trucker, they were shooting into his buffer area, okay, where he had this little stop area, maybe
that little gap area between him and the car in front of him.
Right, and you'll get somebody just rams himself in there and then slams on the brakes, and then the trucker back in the day. Your safety director was like, if you rear-ended somebody, you're at fault. It's your fault. You should have been in control of your vehicle at all time. They blamed the trucker all the time. And it was like, dude, you try to tell the safety director, listen, this jackass shot right off of the ramp in front of me. You didn't even see him coming. And boom, he slammed on his brakes at the last second, and I tagged him. Well, now you're seeing truckers exonerated. You're seeing them found innocent to these clowns that just shoved themselves in front of them, and then the car ends up having to brake, and he's already too close to the trucker, and now the camera's saying, trucker's not at fault. And that's a good thing that way.
Yeah.
And it's the same also with a trucker inward-facing camera. What I'm being told is a lot of times when a truck driver ends up getting into an accident, when they pull up the camera, right, the inward-facing camera, they see that he was doing everything he's supposed to. Right. Hands are on the wheel. He's got his headset on to where he's not, he's hands-free. He's not touching his phone. He's not texting. He's not doing anything. He's alert. He's, he's doing everything that a professional driver is supposed to do. And a lot of times they look at that too and they go, look, that truck driver is doing everything he was supposed to do. This accident was not his fault. Mm-hmm. So it really does help when they can actually say, okay, this was a guy professionally driving. Now, with all that being said, I still wouldn't want a camera on me while I'm driving. I just wouldn't. I really wouldn't want to. I would not want to be like, okay, all right, I know this could happen. I know you're watching me, blah, blah, blah. I just wouldn't want it.
I think you like the one driver said, you get used to it. But even though I wouldn't want someone constantly watching me and doing certain things, and just like I said before, stuff that you're just, burping or farting or singing really bad off tune. I don't want people seeing that. That's for my kids to see. Not some, my dispatcher or whatever. I don't want all that. But if it's to protect me, then I probably would just accept it, because I'd rather have that person know some of my quirkiness than to be on the road and someone deciding they're going to be brake checking me and playing that cat and mouse game that happens, and I'm exonerated from hitting them and they come out and realize that, oh, that person was just doing some kind of insurance fraud or something like that, trying to get the company to pay for something like that, when, you could see they were doing that on purpose. I'd rather that than have those consequences and literally lose my CDL for a few years because I can't find a job then because I did a rear end.
And then there's companies, small companies, that got the camera so they can get the insurance break, and they just tell their drivers, just throw your hat over the camera, we don't care. Seriously, they do have that. But because I've been told by drivers, the problem is, though, if you get into an accident and then your hat's over it, they're not going to be able to use it to try to save money, and then they're probably not going to pay out. So it's kind of funny. Like, some companies are a little bit on the dumb side when they tell drivers to do that. And I know companies that have told drivers that, hey, if you don't like the cameras, just put something over, we're fine with that. Well, that's a bad move if you're going to get the camera.
Because then they'll blame the driver. Well, the driver did this. You're getting fired because they put the hat over it, whatever.
Yeah, well, they're not going to
admit.
Yeah, they're not going to tell anybody that they told the driver to do it. So the driver will be at fault. But anyways, I just thought I would whip that out. It was a pretty neat little survey. And I'll tell you, man, it was so many people just like chiming in. It was pretty cool.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah. So anyways, that's a TalkCDL exclusive right there. 69% say nay. But I will tell you, though, I'm just going to leave you with this. Just like speed limiters, okay, they got a target on you guys' back. You truck drivers, listen to me. I'm telling you right now, they are doing tests on this stuff. Speed limiters and inward-facing cameras is probably going to be the future.
I would say.
Yeah, I would definitely say. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say sometimes, it's not always a good way of thinking about it, but sometimes when you have to think about things of, listen, for us not to have, to get the better rates, maybe get safety bonuses, maybe get certain benefits that we were taken away from us or we weren't able to get because of not having the cameras or the speed limiters, sometimes you've kind of got to accept certain things to be able to get something that you deserve. Well,
I could tell you right now, we're going to move on here in a second, but let me tell you a little secret. When you make that mandatory, and almost 70% of everybody saying, I won't drive with cameras on me, I would tell you that that's going to push I would think that one there would push a bunch of people out. I'm not saying it's going to push everybody out, but there's going to be people that are like, nah, man, I'm just not going to do that.
Well, I do agree with you that it's going to have a huge impact. ELDs was another one. Drivers said, I'm not going to go for it. But some of them realize they can't make those choices right now, and they just sucked it up,
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but just being honest, in my concept of everything, I can deal with ELDs. I can even deal with speed limiters. I've drove a truck at 55 miles an hour. That's 5.5. Okay, in a cab over. 20-year-old truck, but to have, my whole deal, just so you know, when I was out on the road, over the road, I liked the freedom. I mean, that was one of the reasons I loved trucking, because of the freedom. I mean, I could,
I knew it.
Yeah, back in the day, especially when we didn't have cell phones, it was like, what's that?
I knew it. You loved the freedom of being away for 2-3 weeks at a shot. I'm kidding.
No, it was just the freedom, the freedom of, you're out there on the road. I'll tell you what was really free, a lot of these guys will never feel, is not even a cell phone, to where, what I mean? Like, you're going to get people hounding you, calling you all day long. You're not getting mail. Now you get email. I'm just saying, the freedom of being out there with nobody bugging you. I love that. Now I've got to be going down the road and have a camera in my face the entire day. I'm just being honest with you. That don't feel like freedom to me. That don't. ELDs, I don't care about that. He's limiting my truck to a certain speed. I'm not happy with that. I don't really care for that. But at the same time, I can tolerate that. But I don't know, man. I'm feeling a little weird with the cameras. I think that's one thing I wouldn't probably want to do. So, anyways, moving on. Let's get out of this one. My gosh. Whew. TalkCDL. We're coming up on our 10th anniversary. Yeah. 2025 will be our 10-year anniversary Maybe we should give away like a Peterbilt or something. You know, like one of those little
toy cars.
a little toy one. I'm just kidding.
That's about all.
Everybody's like, I'll take that.
That's all TalkCDL could afford is the little Tonka truck.
Yeah, we're going to invest in a Mattel. Let's take a break and let our sponsors talk, and let's come on back.
Attention trucking companies and truck drivers. If you need help with cash flow, we've got help on the way. Turn to Tab Bank, the bank that knows trucking. Tab Bank has been in the business of helping truck drivers and trucking companies with their cash flow needs for 25 years. It's just that simple. It's what they do, but they don't stop there. Tab Bank helps grow your business with their invoice, factoring, and banking services. What a plus that is. Before you book your next load, play it safe and contact Tab Bank to get their help with your factoring needs. Tab Bank helps determine the credit worthiness of your customers as well as billing and collection efforts on invoices that you factor with them. Let the experts at Tab Bank get you cash quickly for the loads you deliver. Again, it's what they do. Visit tabbank.com/TalkCDL to learn more. That's tabbank.com/TalkCDL. Tab Bank member FDIC.
Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them TalkCDL sent you. Drivers, if you're looking for a local, home, everyday driving job, apply with Carter Lumber today. They have positions for Class A and Class B local drivers. They can take experienced drivers, students, and non-CDL drivers. With over 160 locations, chances are they have a position for you. So go to carterlumber.com/TalkCDL and apply today. Again, that's carterlumber.com/TalkCDL. Thank you. All right, we're back. Let me real quick bring up this article. And, you know, I don't care if I get hate mail. Actually, I like hate mail. Send me hate mail.
I never said that you were right in the mind.
I thrive on hate mail. No, listen to this. Massachusetts to offer commercials learner pimps. Yeah, pimps.
Commercial learner pimps.
No, Massachusetts to offer commercial learner permit knowledge tests in Spanish and Portuguese. So they're going to start. This is in Massachusetts. They're going to start, if you're 18 and up and you're a Massachusetts citizen, they're going to allow you, if you only speak Spanish, I guess, or if Spanish is like your stronger language. I don't know how it's working. It's interesting the way this goes. Let me read it. So before we make a comment, it says, this week, the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles announced it will offer commercial learners permit exams in additional languages to increase the pool of commercial drivers for companies doing business in the Commonwealth. It says on November 13, 2024, the Massachusetts RMV announced that commercial learners permit knowledge exams will be available in Spanish and Portuguese as well as English, right? Then it says, while the knowledge test may be administered in other languages, the road test must be administered in English per federal regulation, according to the Massachusetts RMV. Also per federal regulation, the use of foreign language interpreter is not permitted. So you can't have an interpreter, okay, to take the test. All right, if you're doing so the driving part has to be in English, right? But the knowledge, like all your tests, they're gonna have that in other languages. So
no, it just said general knowledge. It didn't say anything about like hazmat or tanker or anything like that. I didn't hear that.
Well, it didn't say general knowledge. It says, well, the knowledge test.
Okay, all right, my mistake.
So I mean, my guess is. But general knowledge is the one you need anyways. That's if you want to get the CDL. Most people don't even have endorsements anymore. So here, let me just finish. It says the commercial learner's permit applicants must be 18, a resident of Massachusetts. And let's see here. It says, we hope to encourage residents to consider applying for commercial driver's licenses by offering the exam in Spanish and Portuguese along with English, said Transportation Secretary and CEO Monica Tabbits Nut. Tabbits Nut. That's what her name is, Tabbits Nut.
Do you think that they would have like the person that's inside doing the test, because they have the person in the tractor with them being bilingual, that they would speak both?
I don't know. I mean, to me, let's just start what I feel. I feel personally that over the last so many years, our country's gotten so soft with allowing anybody in the country. I don't have a problem with anybody coming in correctly, and I'm not saying that these are illegals, but what I am saying is if you got that many people that are in the United States, which is predominantly an English-speaking country, right, and now you're saying, okay, we're going to start where other languages can do it. This is the beginning. I think that you should say, listen, this is the language, and most people that have come here correctly are, for example, our daughter-in-law, okay? She is from Durango, Mexico, and she speaks English just like you and I, self-taught. She came here legally and learned our language, okay? She knows Spanish and she knows English. So what I'm getting at is I feel if you just go right back to say, look, do it right, learn the language, and take the test like everybody else in English. This is just my opinion. Hate mail, bring it on. I don't give a flying rat's ass. I'm telling you what I feel. That's my opinion of it. I'm just saying, as far as, if you allow it now, right, it's like everything else. It starts off small, and then next thing you know, you've got this country divided because now everything is in this and that, and it's like it's almost like the Tower of Babel. You got like everybody speaking different languages, nobody understands each other. Especially if you're out on the road, on CBs and stuff, everybody should be able to communicate on the highway.
No,
it's just my opinion.
I don't think you're alone in your opinion. I think that here's the thing. If you're going to, first of all, if you don't know how to speak English, and I know this is one of the issues that a lot of companies do have when they hire a driver that doesn't speak English very well, or it's very minimal. What are they going to go to? There's plenty of companies that they don't have people like the dock workers and stuff, that they don't speak another language. So you have me coming in there only speaking Spanish, not knowing but maybe 3 words of English, coming in there to your dock, trying to get unloaded and doing all this stuff, and I can't understand you.
Oh, and for everybody out there that calls me a racist, if this is what a racist is, then I'm a racist. But I'm not a racist. A racist hates people, okay? But a lot of people will go, oh, he's a racist because he doesn't want to accept another language. I don't care what your opinion is of me. I'm just telling you what I feel about, okay, the way the CDL test should be taken. And then they said that the driving portion has to be in English. Well, okay, so now the driving portion has to be in English? All right, so let's just say somebody that speaks Portuguese, right, He knows what a stop sign looks like. So he knows how to stop at the stop sign. He knows what a yield sign, he's been taught these things, right? He knows, even though he doesn't understand the language, he understands what, but look, that's just one or two common signs. What about all the other signs, that you need to take the test, or not to take the test, that aren't going to be on the test? Like when they take you for a little drive, there's a lot of signs that you're not going to see. Do you understand? Especially numbers with bridges and stuff like that. Okay. I believe that if you're going to drive in the United States of America, you should speak English. You should at least learn how to. I'm fine with anybody from another country coming here and living here. We have all come from another country. I don't have a problem with that. What my problem is now you start mixing up languages. And I literally, I'll tell you what, truthfully, I can't stand when I walk into a place. Okay, me personally, you and I, we've walked into places like in Orlando, right, where it's 99, and I love Cuban people. We got Cuban friends, but you walk into a Walmart where everybody is speaking Spanish, right? Now, here we are in the United States of America. I've walked into a Walmart in Orlando, and I'm like, hey, can you tell me where I can find the sugar? And they're like, I think you know what I mean? They don't know. And like they're confused, and you're trying to ask them, can you show me where this product is? But they start speaking Spanish, and they're like trying to say no comprende, right?
And they tell you no, I can't help you.
Right, they're telling you no, and it's like here I am. I'm in the United States of America, and I'm in a Spanish-speaking Walmart in Orlando, home of Mickey Mouse, and I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying that to me, why create confusion? Okay, because you want to be light on laws. Listen, if somebody wants to come to the United, let's put it this way. Let's do it a different way. If I went to one of their countries and I wanted to get a CDL in their country, you know what they'd say? Learn the language or don't get it. I will guarantee you, if I went to Mexico, or if I went to Spain, or if I went to a place where it's all Spanish speaking, I will guarantee you they would not allow me to do it. In fact, most countries, unless I can show I'm of value, like Switzerland, you can't move to Switzerland even without a skill. They won't even accept you. But the United States says, come on in here and we'll allow you to go ahead and just, do it your own way. I don't buy into that. I don't like it. I'm telling you, that's my opinion. And if you think I'm a racist, I'm not a racist.
It's not. Yeah, that's not racism.
Well, but that's what people do. When if you don't agree with them, the first thing they say is racist, racist, racist. It's a bunch of bull crap. Okay, learn the language. Okay, learn the language. That's my fully thought on that. That's my thought, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm telling you.
I think probably, like I said, you're not going to be alone on that thought. There's a lot of us that would, you have to have your common language that everybody can understand. And if you have another language to that you came from, or that you have another language because you have family members, that's personal choices there. But as far as to be able to where everybody can agree, I mean, how many times do people get upset when they go to a doctor and they can't understand anything that doctor's saying? You can't understand it because they're not speaking English to you. Or if you go to a restaurant and you can't understand what they're asking you when you're trying to place your order, it's very hard to understand. When you're dealing with businesses like this, the trucking industry, you have to know what everybody's speaking. How are they going to know if they're doing the general knowledge correctly when they do the driving test then?
Yeah, I'm not. You want to do something like this, then be prepared for people to voice their opinion. And my opinion is, I don't think it's that great. I really don't. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for a human being. I don't care what country you're from, coming here and seizing the land of opportunity, which is the United States. Come and do it, but do it right. Learn the language. Come on, guys. If I had to come to your country, I will guarantee you your president or king or whatever you have would be telling me learn the language or get out. Right. You guys, United States has got the most lenient candy-ass laws for other people, but you go to their countries, and I will guarantee you, man, you don't walk into their countries and act privileged like you can in the United States. Some people have found out about it, and they're in jail over there because they thought they can take weed or something into a country or whatever the case is and act like they're privileged and entitled to do it. The United States, some of our leaders, again, man,
Well, the perfect example is was a young boy went over to China and decided that he was going to be all cocky, and was he spray painted or something like that?
No, that was a few years ago. That was
yeah, but
the Philippines or something. They caned him. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he got punished because he thought he was going to be cocky and be all degrading to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't play that game. You know, you want to go in there, you want to do something, you get punished for it.
Yeah, you can't.
Not here.
Yeah. That's just the way I feel. You know, I feel that we should treat foreigners the way they treat us. We should all be the same. Every country, really, I believe, should be able to, you know, enforce their rules.
Well, if you have a law, you need to uphold the consequences for whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's my opinion. I'm going to stick with it. You're not going to change my mind on it either. I don't really care. But anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
All right. Moving on. Boom.
So it's the weather that's starting to get bad now?
Well, that's what I was going to mention. You know, the weather's coming. The weather's here. In fact, I'm seeing videos of snowstorms, you know, up in the Northwest a lot now. And I just wanted to kind of mention to you drivers, number one, I want you to know something. Drivers, for winter driving, you are the captain. You know, I don't think it's said enough. You know, you're an employer, and it's not your truck in most cases, but you're the captain of it, okay? You are the captain of I was with a pilot once, right? And we're flying. And nowhere to lie, like the, what are they called? Control towers or whatever they are, right? They said to the pilot, yeah, I want you to move. I want you to turn so many degrees and go this way, blah, blah, blah. And you know what the pilot said? He looked over, and it was like we were headed towards a big storm. He goes, I don't think so. He's like, I don't think so, pal. I'm gonna take this one myself. And you know what the control said? Okay. It was like he's trying to direct the plane the way he wanted to direct the plane, and the plane's like, I ain't flying through that stuff, man. That's a rough ride. You know, there's lightning in it. I'm not going that way. And he was teaching this young pilot, and he said, just remember, these guys will try to control you. He was telling him, you're the captain of your ship. Don't go flying into weather that you don't have to.
Right.
Well, if you're a trucker, it's the same principle. Okay, if you got a dispatcher that tells you, well, I've got 3 other trucks that are driving in that snowstorm and they don't think it's that bad. If you think it's bad and you feel unsafe, park it. Okay, I don't care about your dispatcher, and I don't care about the owner of your company. I don't care about your customers. You know what I care about? I care about the driver, and I care about the fact that he doesn't kill somebody else along with himself because he was unsure. If you're unsure, okay, then you're going to be, that's bad driving. When you're driving because you're afraid, and there's nothing wrong with being afraid, Ruth Ann.
No, there's not.
There's really not. There's not a truck driver that's never had fear. Okay, show me a truck driver that's never had fear out there, was never afraid to go in ice or never had a couple of close calls, and I'll show you a liar, okay? I'm telling you right now, I drove in lots of bad weather. I really had. But there was times when I was in those storms where I was like, damn it, why did I do this? I'm serious. I was like up on 80. You know, I used to run snowshoe and all that out to Chicago and back every week for years, right? And that was the snow belt. And there had been plenty of times where I was like, they're like, yeah, they're slipping up ahead. I'm like, yeah, I can make it. I'm not a big deal. And then when you get in it, you're going, man, I wish I would have. I was at a truck stop. I should have just stayed there until I knew it was clear.
Well, there's a saying that they said it's good to have a little dose of fear in you.
Absolutely, fear will keep you alive. So, drivers, you're the captain of your ship. Don't let anybody tell you have to drive, especially if it's unsafe. If you feel that way or you're tired, shut it down for the night. I promise you, you can find a job, but you can't find another life if you're dead. Here's the other thing. Keep an extra pair of gloves, warm socks, hand warmers, you know, those hunting hand warmers. Make sure you have a CB radio. Okay.
good there. Good, definitely.
Yeah, it's things like that. You really need to be able to do that. I'll tell you a quick story with me, and you were there. I came home and dropped my trailer, came home, parked on a level parking lot that had ice on it. Tires were warm. The next morning, I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to leave, and my tires had melted the ice and created this little concave spaces underneath.
Little.
Yeah.
Just enough. Just a little.
And even with my interlocks on, I could not get out of it. I'm talking, I was rocking the truck, everything. We're throwing. Now, the guy that owned the bar across the street, he's bringing out cinders and ashes, and we're dumping them under the tires. And it's not helping, okay? And I would tell you, be careful where you park, all right? If you're running down the road and your tires are a little bit warm in that really cold weather, don't park on ice. You can park on snow, packed snow, but if you park on just pure ice, I promise you, you will not believe it until you're involved in it. So be careful where you park also, because you could be stuck the next morning. Ruth Ann, that's really all I wanted to talk about.
Well, you were saying a couple of things that they should have, the gloves and stuff. Also, they have those little silver blankets, like your little quick emergency kit. And I would suggest, you could probably pick them up anywhere, but you could probably easily go on Amazon and look at it, not just the gloves, not just the warm socks or the little handheld warming devices and stuff, but also those little blankets, because if something ever happens and you're stuck, you want to be able to stay warm in your cab. Or, last year, those incidences where those storms came in and people were stuck on the highway and you're shutting your truck down to conserve on your fuel, but these cars were having the same issue, and drivers were giving their blankets and stuff to the kids in these cars because they had none. So, you have some water with your truck, have some stuff to keep you warm just in case something like that ever happens. You just don't know. It's better to be safe than sorry. It doesn't take much space up.
Believe it or not, candles will actually keep the place a little warmer also. So if you got some fat candles sitting under your bed that you can set on a nice level area where they're not going to fall over, and light a few candles, it'll keep you warm enough, believe it or not, that you're not freezing to death. So little tricks like that. Just be smart. I once knew a trucking company in North Dakota. They were a flatbed company. The guy's name was Steve, a really cool guy. And he was telling me one time it was like Florida or Alabama. He flew the guy in to hire him, and the guy showed up in January in shorts. He said, Troy, I'm serious. This guy showed up in a tank top and shorts. He said, I had to take him to the store to buy him a coat or else he'd probably be dead. He said, I couldn't believe some of these guys in the South. He said, they're just unreal. But so if you guys are in the South, if you plan on going north, make sure you realize it's some super cold up that way.
Well, yeah, and you were saying about warm socks and stuff. We all know you're going to be wearing boots out when you go outside your tractor. It gets sloshy. So remember, you're going to want to put something dry on when you get back in.
Yeah, and not everybody in the South is dumb. I'm just telling you, this is what one guy did. So anyways, I have to always mention that, Ruth, then, because you get these guys that go, oh, you're insulting us Southern boys. No, I'm not.
No.
Just like I'm not insulting people who can't speak the language. I'm just saying I don't think you should be driving a tractor trailer if you can't speak the language in my country. That's the way I feel, because your country won't allow me to do it. Right. Anyways, moving on.
I'm going to
get on a damn rant. I'm going to get on a...
Don't get offended so easy, right?
Yes, let's move on. I'm done.
Moving on.
That's it for me.
Okay.
I'm toast. What do you got? You got the word of the day?
I do. Word genius word of the day. Are you ready?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Congruous.
Congruous?
Congruous.
Yes, congruous. CONGRUOUS. Congruous.
Give it to me.
In agreement or harmony.
Congruous, in agreement or harmony.
Mm-hmm. The noise from the hotel bar was congruous with its reputation as an all-night party spot. City officials paired a redesign of the park with a congruous set of new community programs. So they were in harmony with each other.
Nice. Moving on.
Moving on
to the end. How about we're out of here?
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.